This is a CBS2 News update. I'm Chris Wragge. We begin with a tragedy in Queens. 4 people shot to death in Astoria. Police say the bodies of a man, 2 women, and a boy about 5 years old were found last night in an apartment at 30th Drive and 23rd Street. Sources tell CBS2 it appears to be a murder-suicide. It's not clear if they were members of the same family. Now, neighbors tell us they're stunned.
It's so sad. This is terrible. This is our neighborhood, and then for a child to be hurt this way, this is a little sad. You don't expect this.
Police say they have recovered a gun at the scene. Caught on camera, an arsonist nearly sets himself on fire on Staten Island. It happened early yesterday at a 7-Eleven gas station on Richmond Avenue. The man is seen spraying gasoline around the pumps, then tossing a lit piece of paper to the ground. Police say the suspect and a station employee had argued about the $40 cost of filling a portable gas can of gasoline. The burst of flames triggered the station's fire suppression system. A man nearby was seriously hurt after inhaling fumes and burning his feet. The hunt for the arsonist continues at this hour. We've seen the trouble travelers have getting in and out of LaGuardia Airport, especially during construction. But just a few moments ago, Governor Cuomo announced a new ramp at that airport will be opening today to allow quicker access to Delta gates. The new ramp is on the eastbound side of the Grand Central Parkway at exit 7. The governor says it is just one of the changes being made as part of the $8 billion rebuild to the airport.
This airport is not just going to be new and easier to navigate. It's going to have an air train finally, so you can get to Manhattan. Thanks to Jeff Aubrey for stepping up on that legislation, Jeff. It's going to have a high-speed ferry. It's going to have more parking than ever before. So it is going to be a totally new and better airport.
Hear, hear. Governor Cuomo also said the roadway network is being redesigned to improve traffic flow around the airport. Happening today, a former Penn State University student will be sentenced after pleading guilty in the alcohol hazing death of a fraternity pledge from New Jersey. 19-year-old Tim Piazza died at the party thrown by the Beta Theta Pi fraternity in February of last year. 21-year-old Ryan Burke from Scranton, Pennsylvania, is facing potential prison time as part of a plea deal. Prosecutors say Burke gave Piazza a bottle of vodka to drink, which caused him to get drunk before he fell. More than 20 other members of the now shut down fraternity face trial. Burke was the first to plead guilty. Also happening today, jury selection begins in the trial of President Trump's former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, is due in federal court in Virginia today. He's accused of concealing tens of millions of dollars in income from the IRS and fraudulently obtaining millions more in bank loans. The charges do not involve Manafort's time with Trump. It's the first case brought by special counsel Robert Mueller to go before a jury. A small sinkhole in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn is causing some major problems. Residents say they constantly call the city to complain, but to no avail. That's where CBS2's Valerie Castro enters, and she demanded answers.
At first, it looks like any other street repair, but this is something Bed-Stuy residents say they've waited too long for, and it isn't even a permanent fix.
It's not permanent, but it's so much safer.
Corey Choi says he first called 311 back in May, and despite several attempts to follow up, he says his efforts went nowhere.
There was just no communication from the people who were supposed to give it to us.
311 says there have been 15 different complaints about what appears to be the small sinkhole in the crosswalk on Patchen and Putnam Avenues. The Department of Environmental Protection says the problem is underground, where sewer infrastructure is broken. A DEP spokesperson says the roadway was made safe with a temporary asphalt patch back in May, but about a month later, after heavy rains, it sank down into the ground. That's when Alicia Hernandez Simpson tripped.
They said a little chip of my bone is floating in the bottom of my foot, and then the other half is sticking out.
She broke her foot when she fell in the hole as she was hailing a cab. At the time, she says there were no construction cones warning of the danger, but residents have since put them there.
I can't put no shoe on. Can't walk, gotta walk with crutches, can't work.
The injury is so bad she'll need surgery next month. We called DEP to demand answers, and they promised another temporary patch. They came through.
A patch? What is a patch gonna do? Fix it. So this won't happen.
DEP says at some point it will put in a more permanent fix, but didn't give a timeline for when that will happen. In Bedford, Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, Valerie Castro, CBS 2 News.
Lane closures on the heavily traveled tunnel approach begin in less than 3 weeks. The already congested Route 495 viaduct will be rehabilitated over the next 2.5 years. That will mean closing 1 lane in each direction. Those closures are set to begin August 17th, and severe congestion is expected. Well, summer's the season for lemonade stands, but one boy in Saratoga saw his refreshment business closed down by the state. 7-year-old Brendan Mulvaney has been selling the summer staple for years from a stand on his parents' porch, but the operation may have looked a little too professional, according to some. Vendors at the neighboring Saratoga County Fair complained to the health department, saying the stand looked too structured, like a business that would normally be required to get a permit.
There's more important things in life than, shutting down a kid's lemonade stand.
Brendan's father says they'll be buying a permit and will reopen the stand. This time they say they'll use the proceeds to benefit a family friend, a young girl who needs money for a special leg surgery. Now let's get over to John Elliott in the Weather Center with your forecast. Johnny?
You know, we're salvaging another pretty nice day. We're looking at 77 with partly cloudy skies right now. Stray shower possible after midnight. Better chance for showers and storms Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You're going to feel that humidity too. Chris?
Right, Johnny, thank you so much. Well, some stargazers were seeing red overnight. This is a rare look at the red planet from Randall's Island Park. For the first time in more than a decade, Mars was visible to the naked eye. It was only 35.8 million miles away from us. The Griffith Observatory in Los Angeles hosted a viewing party for this rare occasion. The last time the two planets were this close was August of 2003. NASA says it's not expected to happen again until 2035. Well, some brides on Long Island may have to rethink their pre-wedding celebrations. A growing number of local vineyards are putting a ban on bachelorette parties. CBS2's Jennifer McLogan reports from Long Island's East End.
Bachelorette party in wine country. Bride-to-be Julie Adler and her friends just celebrated her upcoming nuptials, a trip to the East End in a limo for fun and friendship at the vineyards for the day, complete with crown and goblet.
I personally had a great time and did not see anyone who was particularly wild or crazy.
The bridesmaids visited 3 vineyards on the North Fork, but were surprised to discover bachelorettes are now banned from some wineries.
I got the sense that it was probably pretty good business for the wineries to have a bunch of bachelorette parties.
But more and more across Long Island and the country, vineyard owners claim rowdy bachelorettes and their entourages are creating havoc, turning their quaint atmospheres into carnivals.
This is such a beautiful little piece of heaven. So you don't want girls with tiaras on their head running around with those fake white veils.
At multiple wineries across the North and South Forks, no more veils, tiaras, crowns, balloons, inflatable objects, or any other paraphernalia.
One of my best friends is the life of the party. She's not going to come to this where she can't scream and yell.
Over-imbibing bachelorettes becoming a growing problem, claim some owners who say they have a responsibility to keep everyone safe.
I think you should be allowed to choose who comes into your establishment. You don't need a lot of drunken and disorderly people ruining the times of others.
And quiet grape groves may not be the best place for Bridezilla.
I mean, I went to Vegas for my bachelorette party, so a little different.
Yep, there's always Vegas, but Adler doesn't want to go that far.
I honestly don't know what we would have done if we didn't have this option. It was just the perfect thing for us to do, to get everyone local together to do something nice on Long Island.
Now more than 24 vineyards in the consortium are in a quandary, deciding whether to ban bachelorette bliss on the vineyards of Long Island. From the East End, Jennifer McLogan, CBS2 News.
Well, why be a subway surfer when you can have a subway sofa? Strap hangers whipped out their phones to capture this man with quite the baggage on the 4 train yesterday afternoon. The man even appears to doze off for a little bit as he sits on his sofa, which is blocking a set of doors and, of course, the aisle. We reached out to the MTA for comment. So far, we have not heard back. They were probably as incredulous as we were to see this video. That is your CBS2 News update. If you're taking the subway, please leave your couch at home. I'm Chris Wragge. Join us in a few moments for our CBS2 News at noon. Enjoy your day.